Danica Patrick made her imprint in a sport controlled by men, going from dominating the racetrack to becoming well known. Renowned for her unwavering resolve and competitive spirit, she dismantled obstacles and dispelled misconceptions. However, Danica has been noticeably out of the spotlight lately. What caused her to withdraw from racing and the spotlight? After years of rapid achievement, Danica's life has significantly changed. Whether this results from personal growth or a deliberate move away from celebrity, Danica Patrick is undoubtedly welcoming a new chapter in her life. Let's explore her decision to take a step back. Midwest beginnings. Although Danica Sue Patrick was raised in Roscoe, Illinois, a much smaller town, she was born in Beloit, Wisconsin on March 25, 1982. Beverly Ann Patrick and Terry Joseph Patrick Jr. were her parents. Her initial list of dreams did not include becoming a racing driver, but that list was very long. Among the careers she considered were secretary, singer, and veterinarian. What sparked her interest in driving then? It was because she was bored, like so much else in life. While necessity may be the mother of innovation, lifetime professions are often the product of boredom. Starting with go-karts. Danica's parents began searching for activities to allow them to spend quality time together before their daughter reached adolescence because she and her younger sister, Brooke, had little to do. The girls tried out a friend's go-kart before the parents decided on a boat. Since the girls hung out together, Danica wasn't far behind Brooke when she initially decided she wanted her own or more opportunities to drive. With their parents' approval, Danica, then 10, and Brooke, then 8, got their rides at that age. In love with racing. Danica fell head over heels in love with racing very quickly. She quickly concluded that she needed to start participating because she enjoyed racing against her sister and friends. Her handling, bravery, and coordination began to improve. She begged her parents to move to California when she was 13 so she could compete all year round. Despite what some may think, Danica may not be a child genius when it comes to driving. Drivers must repeatedly practice to hone their nerves and skills, and Danica was determined to do just that. Not just a driver. Danica was still a teenager, but she was teaching herself how to operate cars. She watched over her neighbors while working as a cheerleader for her high school. Saying that Danica Patrick was your babysitter would be amazing. Crazy. It's been reported that she spent significant time thinking about driving despite these other pursuits. Youngsters and teenagers are remarkably better at focusing than adults are. They are free from the burden of paying taxes, raising children, and other enjoyable responsibilities. A portion of them concentrate on activities that will take them globally. Supportive parents. Danica's parents were there for her while acclimating her to life behind the wheel. A strong support network makes life so much easier, and Danica's parents have been there for her from the start. They were even present to support her victory. Her parents were both experienced with automobiles and machinery. Her father served as both her first racing coach and crew chief. He took care of all the other car maintenance and changed the tires. Instead, her mother tracked Danica's statistics since she desired to maintain hygiene. Discuss a family-friendly pastime. Making a name for herself. As most girls were enjoying their sweet 16s, Danica was winning go-kart championships on a regional and national level. When she eventually became old enough to legally drive, the world was her oyster. The queen of the karts started to crave more. She was prepared to go to competitive road racing, but it would not be simple. Some things would have to be done, including moving the whole family. It was also going to mean making some difficult choices. Danica, who was 16 then, was still a child and lacked the maturity to handle them all. Spreading the word. As Danica struggled to adjust to road racing, her father, Terry, contacted local news outlets frequently to document his daughter's progress. He realized that increasing her popularity would help her succeed in the long term, so he wanted to do that. This endeavor paid off when, of all places, MTV became aware of Danica's potential. A man named John Meekum, Jr. became interested in the segment they produced about her efforts. He was a Texas oilman and previous owner of the New Orleans Saints, and he was hoping to mentor the young Patrick. Swapping schools. Mecum proposed to sponsor Danica and wanted to engage her in the racing circuit in the United Kingdom. The only thing that worried him was her attending a good racing school. The whole Patrick family was overjoyed, and an agreement was reached. This caused significant adjustments for the entire household. One involved leaving her high school in the middle of her junior year to relocate to England. Danica was prepared to move forward with her racing career, even though she was leaving her home, life, and friends behind. Leaving high school behind. Danica's family decided to take her out of high school and go to England because of her genuine talent and promise as a driver. Despite the significant changes, Danica remained committed to advancing her driving career in any manner that she could. She had to get used to a new nation, new laws, and new cars. We shouldn't have to remind you that go-karts and actual vehicles are very different. Specifically, the braking system requires much adjusting and is very different. The Patricks moved across the pond and went to work in the late 90s. Becoming tougher. There are obstacles to overcome while moving, but Danica faced more than the typical relocation, even an international one. There were many males in the European race world at the time who would never consider inviting a young American female into their club. Danica undoubtedly had difficulty getting through it, but she claims that the experience gave her a strong sense of self. But the young driver's problems weren't limited to these. Rumors were circulating about an opulent lifestyle. Finding her first sponsor was made more accessible for Patrick by being in the spotlight. But the attention didn't go away after that since, well, gossip about celebrities is the best. Patrick was a star, although a minor one. Losing her sponsor. Whether true or not, the rumors compelled Mecum to act, and Danica was removed from the driver roster. But Danica remained resolute, and the rest of the family supported her. Terry Patrick agreed to contribute money to keep Danica racing even though she no longer had financial support. This included not just education, but also supplies, tools, and, of course, the most significant item, the car. Terry undoubtedly grew accustomed to writing large checks and secretly understood that it was a risk for his girlfriend. But that gamble paid off after just 2 years, and that's when Danica's career took off. Second place. Danica's 2000 Formula Ford Festival's second-place finish brought her considerable recognition for the first time. There were solely Ford-powered single-seat racing cars in the British race. Even though Danica could have won and lost by just 5 seconds, her start may not appear ideal, as she only managed to finish in the second position. Not equal. She reportedly gave the best performance by an American in this European tournament, and keep in mind that at the time, she was just 18. Even though she had to step down from racing icon Anthony Dennis Davidson, a British racer, to take her place on the podium, we bet she was still beaming broadly. Put the pedal down. Every driver hopes to compete in the Indianapolis 500, one of the most watched athletic events in the world. Before they have a chance, drivers must complete hundreds of thousands of laps and demonstrate their superiority. Because women were not allowed to compete in the race until the 1970s, and there were very few of them, female racers had it particularly difficult. In 2002, Danica received the shock of a lifetime when she received an offer from renowned driver Bobby Rahal for an Indianapolis 500 contract. Her season didn't quite go as planned, though, and she could not compete in the Indianapolis 500. A second chance. Danica had another opportunity with Rahal Letterman Racing, that's David Letterman's, by the way, after a few more years of making the rounds. Her next significant opportunity came in 2004, and she wouldn't let it pass. Her year was strong enough this time around for her to be able to compete in the Indianapolis 500. Danica demonstrated that she can drive well and has the perseverance and enthusiasm to stick with it when things become difficult. She had an excellent opportunity to leave her mark and win some nice hardware. Starting rough. Sadly, nobody had anticipated how Patrick's 2005 career year would begin. Patrick was involved in a multi-car collision during her inaugural Indianapolis 500 when a driver lost control of his car and spun across the circuit. Danica was clipped when she was directly behind the spinning vehicle. She flew straight up the wall after the crash. She knew the risks, though she didn't anticipate ending up in the hospital after her first primary race. Fortunately, she just suffered a moderate concussion. Although her first race was a no-go, Patrick still had plenty of time to compensate for the lost distance because the year was still young. Staying focused. That was just the first race, and it ended in a crash. Though she had plenty of other opportunities, she would have delighted to place in the top 10 in her maiden race. She almost won a couple of races later. She focused on the goal, and that year she succeeded in creating history. Danica was set to compete in her first Indianapolis 500 2 months after her first race ended in an accident. The amount of miles is the one that appears after the race. Only the best are allowed to compete. It's a fantastic test of endurance and focus. Just barely missing the podium. Danica Patrick finished 4th among the 33 drivers who competed on that particular day. The teenage driver accomplished a great deal with it. In addition, she led the race for the entire 19 laps in the lead position. Even though Danica had been racing for a long time, this was like a college football player breaking through into the NFL, only on a bigger scale. But Danica showed she was capable of keeping up with the older lads. She set multiple firsts during her effort, including the quickest female overall practice speed, which won her pole position for the next Indianapolis 500 in Kansas. Gaining accolades. The racing community noticed her since she was only the second woman in history to finish in pole position at the Indianapolis 500. Although she was still considered a rookie in the league, she faced a lot of scrutiny during her competition. It was not a poor start, even with the incident, as the series and the racing community recognized her abilities and awarded her the 2005 Rookie of the Year. She also won the most popular driver title in the Indianapolis Racing League for 3 consecutive years. She became a female athlete that everyone had to respect almost instantly. A huge first. Danica was becoming well known. She was a media darling, gifted, and ambitious. As the years went by, she never gave up on her goal of becoming a champion. With better driving, she established herself as a reliable big league player. Her maiden race victory in 2008 was a testament to her hard work and dedication. She became the first female driver to win any significant league open-wheel racing event when she won the trophy at Japan's twin-ring Motegi Indy 300. She was also the first woman to win the race itself. Number 1. Danica was named Rookie of the Year in a prominent organization when she was 23. At the age of 26, she created sports history. What might occur next? She topped well-known athletes like quarterback Tom Brady and golfer Tiger Woods as the most searched-after athlete on AOL's annual list of top web, mobile, and video searches. Her prowess on the track undoubtedly played a significant role, but she also had concurrent modeling contracts to her credit. Danica didn't back down when critics pointed out that the majority of her notoriety came from spreads in Sports Illustrated or advertising campaigns. Doing things her way. In case you couldn't tell by now, Danica wouldn't handle things the way history has typically seen them unfold. She appeared in numerous GoDaddy.com advertisements, grinned at the camera, and posed in a bikini for Sports Illustrated. She was spicy and fiery, and she wasn't going to take the negativity from others seriously. Ironically, for all her obvious attractiveness, Patrick didn't like the term sexy. She considered it the lowest kind of flattery since, although she usually merely heard that she was attractive, here she was showing the world that a woman could succeed in the fast lane. Taking the world by storm. This girl from a small Midwest town had somehow become extremely popular worldwide. She won races against seasoned pros, made magazine covers, and captured attention worldwide with her style. While not everything she did was well received, take the sultry GoDaddy.com advertisements, for example, nobody could discount her or deny that her star was still rising. She had skill, beauty, and celebrity all on her own. What remained? Let me introduce you to Paul Edward Hospenthal. a racing heart. As her racing career took off and her notoriety grew, Patrick connected with 17-year-old Paul Edward Hospenthal. The two initially crossed paths when Danica was still aiming for the Indianapolis 500. Hospenthal treated well-known sportsmen as a physical therapist before he got to know Danica, who was seeking assistance for a hip injury she had received from a yoga session. Soon after, the pair became romantically involved, despite Danica's best efforts to keep the connection private. She enjoyed considerable success for the most part, but tabloid rag writers treat celebrity relationships like sweets. An even better year than we thought. Danica and Hospenthal became engaged in 2005, the year she won Rookie of the Year and Most Popular Driver. They had been dating for 3 years. She wasn't used to being wealthy at that point, but by then she had earned her place as a pop cultural figure. However, Paul had a sharp financial mind and started his physical therapy practice from the ground up. Patrick mentioned that she would always appreciate the financial management, retirement savings, and self-worth-boosting teachings he gave her. On the other hand, Paul was eager to impart his wisdom to his new spouse. Not meant to be. Unfortunately, it didn't appear like this would be a long-lasting relationship. The couple's 7-year marriage ended in divorce. The reasons behind their apparent amicable separation are unknown to anyone outside their immediate circle. 7 years is suitable in the second stage of a partnership, but it's past the first danger zone, the first 2 years following marriage. The most unusual times for a couple to end their marriage are around the 7th and 8th years. Although Danica is not your average person, she and Paul were victims of all the usual relationship mistakes. Not slowing down. Since Patrick tends to move on quickly, she found a new partner soon after her split from Paul. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was the driver this time. She was renowned for her beauty and talent, making her one of the most eligible bachelorettes in the world. Being a 2-time Rookie of the Year winner and the 2011 and 2012 National Series champion, Stenhouse was quite the catch. But this connection didn't progress as far as it had previously. After dating for 5 years, Ricky called it quits on the relationship, saying he felt pushed to ask Danica to marry him before he was ready. A year to remember. Danica had a successful year in 2013. She was getting along with her new partner and breaking records in the renowned NASCAR Cup Series. She qualified for the Daytona 500 with the fastest time and finished in the top 10 just a few months after it was announced that she and her husband Paul had split. She finished in 8th place, the highest place a female has ever finished in the event. Considered the Great American Race, many observers witnessed the glass ceiling for women in racing suddenly coming down at the Daytona. Not just for women. Girls and women everywhere had been following Danica's career with tremendous curiosity. Danica was pleased she inspired women, but didn't feel like a movement representative. Although she was smashing records and generating headlines, she didn't have any advice for women, as she stated to the LA Times in 2020. She wanted everyone to know something. She has always wished to concentrate on motivating everyone to strive for success. Although Patrick may take pride in being the one who introduced racing to women, it wasn't her main objective. You can't race forever. Patrick thought it was wrong to categorize people as one-dimensional. She didn't want to be associated with ladies alone in her situation. Her most excellent advice, in her opinion, was to do what you love and be yourself. Because of her realistic outlook and the drive she demonstrated throughout her life, many people assumed Danica would race for much longer than she did. But it wasn't until 2018, almost 13 years into her time in the major leagues, that Danica realized that she wasn't as committed to the sport as she had been previously. She realized she had to move on because age and injuries had taken their toll. Going out with a bang. When operating a vehicle, even minor movements could put you, your car, other drivers, and even people in the audience in danger. Danica believed she couldn't maintain her proficiency long enough to carry on. She decided that 2018 would be her final year of full-time racing, and losing one of her sponsors that year also contributed to her decision. Still, she wished to end on a positive note. She expressed her desire to be recognized for her victories and status as a champion rather than for withering away and petering out like many other athletes. The final double. The Daytona 500 and Indianapolis 500, her two favorite races of the season, had earned the Danica Double moniker. In a retirement announcement, Danica said she would continue competing in those two races, which served as joyous farewells to a unique racing legend. But things didn't go quite as planned. Danica failed to finish in the two races. Instead, she was involved in crashes that resulted in her death. Even though her dream ending was not realized, 2018 fortunately brought more than just driving. Fraternizing with the enemy. Danica was raised in Illinois, but was born in Wisconsin. She has always been a die-hard Chicago Bears supporter. Then imagine her astonishment when she began dating Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. The two, who had known each other since 2012, soon fell in love after her split from Stenhouse. Their high-profile romance started in February 2018. Despite being a Bears supporter, she was delighted to encourage her partner as his squad continually trampled over hers. As she drove the Danica Double to officially announce her retirement, Rodgers was by her side. Spending some time on the red carpet. As a true star, Danica had a full calendar year of events in 2018. Even if she didn't exactly rock the house, one of them was selected to present the ESPY Awards. Though reviewers did note that she was awkward on stage and that her comedic timing was a little off, she looked lovely in her open sandals and off-the-shoulder mini dress. It was not just her red carpet debut on this occasion, but Rodgers as well. She wasn't the most fantastic host ever, but she was still competent enough. She most likely still experienced stage anxiety despite all that stressful time spent behind the wheel. Done after 2 years. Despite their extensive global travels and several Instagram-worthy photos taken together, Patrick and Rodgers' romance was left out. Fan conjecture erupted in July 2020 after Danica unfollowed Rodgers on the photo-sharing website. As soon as rumors started spreading, the couple broke up. Danica would subsequently claim they drifted away, even though both parties have been somewhat ambiguous. Relationships do not always last. They are a reality of life. Even the partnerships of two well-known individuals. They said there was no particular cause. She disclosed on her podcast that any man who dates Danica will have his work cut out for him. Moving on. This athletic power couple's two halves have moved on. After just months of dating Big Little Lies actress Shailene Woodley, Rodgers announced his engagement. Information indicates that it was just a matter of knowing when to know. Danica may not be married yet, but her business empire is her priority. She owns two businesses, Warrior, which sells mixed-use athletic and leisure clothes, and Somnium, a wine brand. Along with authoring novels, she has a podcast series called Pretty Intense and has written memoirs. She must have learned a lot from Paul's business lessons. The Cameo and the Good Work. Since putting away her driving gloves, Danica has been doing more than that. In 2019, she had a brief cameo as a driving teacher in Charlie's Angels. She was pleased to play a part resembling her driving background. She also gained recognition for her charitable giving. Her causes frequently revolve around giving nutritious food to those who might not otherwise have access to it. Those who keep up with her on social media know her ongoing advocacy for a healthy diet, regular exercise, and overall well-being. Her small stature. Nobody can dispute her enormous fame if you're not discussing Danica in person. She weighs only 100 pounds most of the time and is only 5 feet 2 inches. When you consider it, a lighter driver is preferable because it requires less effort from the car. Other competitors, including Robbie Gordon, were not kind to Patrick, claiming that her weight was less than that of the more significant drivers, which gave her an unfair edge. Gordon even went so far as to suggest that he wouldn't participate until anything was done to make the race more equitable. Too busy for kids. Danica has spent most of her life making sure she was prepared to win. She spent 7 years of marriage to Paul Huspenthal. However, the couple never had children. Patrick is so small that it was just not possible to think about driving while carrying a baby bump for the sake of the child's and her health. Danica, however, says she wanted to be sure she had options, so she underwent the hormone treatment process to freeze her eggs. She has benefited immensely from her emphasis on physical fitness and health if she becomes a parent. The focus on head injuries. There has been a growing body of knowledge regarding head injuries sustained in sports over time. Without a doubt, NASCAR and other driving organizations had to pay attention. Even with the hundreds of laws and regulations drivers adhere to ensure their safety, damage occurs when a car hits a wall at 150 miles per hour. According to ESPN statistics, Patrick is believed to have had numerous concussions over the years and could face significant risks if she is involved in another major collision. Patrick thought it was time to step away from racing, partly because of this risk. How is she rated? Although Danica has been referred to as a champion in this piece, she has never placed first in a NASCAR race. Although she was greatly anticipated, she never lived up to the excitement. She is one of the most well-known drivers in racing, but her success isn't as great as that of many other of her female competitors. She is still famous, though, because she is a role model for many young drivers. Nobody can dispute Patrick's cultural impact, even if people become increasingly critical of her driving over time, even going so far as to label it overrated. Never stop growing. Despite her retirement from racing, Danica maintains a highly active physical lifestyle. She has always prioritized her health because she is an athlete, but not a conventional one. She appears to adore snowboarding and skiing. She even shared some motivational quotes about concentrating on both your advantages and disadvantages. She wanted to increase her thigh and hip flexibility, so she focused on performing back bends during yoga. Experts differ when it comes to enhancing your areas of strengths and weaknesses. Some claim it strengthens strengths to overcome flaws, while others claim it worsens weaknesses. Which approach Danica subscribes to is obvious. Time with Bear Grylls. You probably already know Bear Grylls as the ultimate outdoor man, even if you don't watch his shows. In 2021, Danica was given the honor of appearing on one of his shows. Grylls' shows emphasize embracing your fears, and Danica was forced to follow suit. On her Instagram account, she shared that she overcame her fears by doing everything that scared her the most, and that progress lies ahead. In real life, she related that. She has experienced extreme highs and lows. She has experienced heartbreak, the winner's circle, and all points in between. Trying love out again. Patrick is evidence that one's age is no barrier. At 39, she found herself with a new romantic partner, Carter Comstock, co-founder of Freshly Meals, a meal prep kit company. When the couple announced their romance to the world in March 2021, they were pretty happy. It's evident that Danica doesn't take things slowly and hopes to find happiness in relationships. This encourages us all to persevere and not to give up too soon. A problem with anger. Although Danica's life has gone well in many ways, she is plagued with anger management issues all the time. It's been repeatedly seen that she will express her displeasure to others if she doesn't get her way. She'll flip the bird, stomp her feet, and swear at anybody she thinks is at fault. Danica has put a lot of effort into changing. Though she didn't care what people thought of her, she found it easier to hold her tongue because there was always so much drama, people to apologize to, and cleanup to be done. A marketing mind. Patrick's marketing insight allows her to endorse anything from granola snacks to dentists, but because her GoDaddy.com advertisements were too explicit, they were taken off the air. Though some critics have been of this, are there other drivers with a wheel to compete on? More sponsors than laps are shown on the rotating billboards in their cars. It's very typical for drivers to profit from branding. Regretfully, it appears that many have unfairly singled Danica out. Sponsor lawsuits. In 2015, Patrick and her racing team signed a 3-year partnership that made Nature's Bakery the driver's primary sponsor. But after just a single year of sponsorship, Nature's Bakery withdrew, claiming Patrick had backed a competing product. A lawsuit was filed since the agreement never stated that Patrick couldn't appear with competing products. Furthermore, the other product was a protein powder, so it wasn't a competitor. Because Patrick's team was winning, Nature's Bakery ultimately reached a settlement with her and her team for the remaining $31 million in their contract. There's no more incredible feeling than being fairly compensated. A series Iron Woman. Danica owns another Indianapolis record. After her 7-year Indianapolis tenure, she finished with an astounding 50 races in a row, setting a record. The next most, and the previous record holder, was series winner Scott Dixon, who only ran 24 straight races. However, because his career is still developing, Dixon has the opportunity to reclaim his record. She also owns the record for the most Super Bowl advertisements aired. However, given the number of celebrity cameos that air each year, we wouldn't be shocked if she lost this one quickly. A sponsor herself. Danica had many large and small sponsors throughout her racing career, but she also did some of her own sponsorship. She supported her niece's under-10 girls softball team in Phoenix, so it wasn't a fellow racer. They wore outfits that matched Patrick's hues and went by the name Green Machines. She frequently slows down the diamond activity with her celebrity status by attending their practices or games when she can. She has made it clear that this is simply softball practice while yet trying to maintain a low profile. There are worse things if the girls want to visit and meet her. Favorite numbers. Danica Patrick typically selects between 2 numbers for her cars when given the option. Her favorite number is 4, so that's first. She strives to attain a number containing at least 4 digits, even if she cannot obtain a single-digit number. She sprung for 10, like her Stewart-Haas Racing Spring Cup vehicle, when she can't receive any of those. She chose that number in part because that was the age at which she began go-kart racing. It doesn't matter why she likes the number 4, the reason is still unclear. That's a respectable amount. Not the first 3, however. Doing a good deed. Danica Patrick has a lot of likes and dislikes, just like the rest of us. Her innate distaste for popsicles may be the most intriguing of these. In 2020, Patrick accomplished something unique despite this. Callie Kessler, an 18-year-old fan of the Green Bay Packers, had her tonsils removed. Her parents recorded Kessler pleading with her then-boyfriend, Patrick Rogers, for 400 popsicles while under anesthesia. Patrick and Rogers arranged for Kessler to receive the popsicles, which were 400 Otter Pops. Not everyone responded well to Kessler's declaration of love for Aaron Rodgers, but at least she had her popsicles. Fun with family. Danica Patrick is always focused on the essential things in life, even with the hectic and fast-paced lifestyle she has built over the years. Her family is among those. She'll reserve the next trip home and spend some time with her loved ones whenever she has a week or 2 free in her hectic schedule. That entails returning to the Midwest to party with her mother, sister, and nieces, among other loved ones. The girls are heading outside to enjoy some satisfying apple picking despite the rain. A broadcasting whiz. Danica Patrick has wildly succeeded in the sports broadcasting industry since retiring from the game. Patrick joined NBC as a studio analyst in 2019 and began covering the Indianapolis 500. She joined the Sky Sports F1 crew a few years later to commentate on the 2021 United States Grand Prix. That's not all, though. In addition, Patrick has offered her commentary services for several events, such as the Superstar Racing Experience events on CBS and the NASCAR Cup Series on Fox. She started contributing commentary to the 6th season of Formula One, Drive to Survive, a Netflix series in 2024. She's a dog person. Nothing can separate Danica Patrick from her cherished dogs. With her 2 hounds, the ex-racer shares an unbreakable bond. The first is a white husky named Dallas, while the other is a Belgian Malinois named Ella. She enjoys exploring new places and spending time with her furry companions at home. She also enjoys taking them for walks and drives. Ella and Dallas are the 2 people she looks to for solace. Coming home to her pet's unwavering devotion is the best feeling after all she's been through and her hectic schedule. A real nomad. It makes sense that Danica Patrick cannot remain still for longer than 5 minutes when you consider the type of work she conducted for so long. That she enjoys nothing more than packing her bags and traveling the world for experiences thus makes perfect sense. Patrick recently got the opportunity to visit Chichen Itza, Mexico, where she could take in the breathtaking splendor of the Mayan ruins. She is adamant about seeing all 7 world wonders and could cross this off her list. The specific list of these wonders varies greatly, but some common ones are Christ the Redeemer, the Taj Mahal, Petra, the Great Wall of China, and the Giza Pyramids, about which, mission accomplished. Danica Patrick works relentlessly to ensure that she follows through on her commitments. You can be sure that she would succeed in realizing her dream of seeing the Giza Pyramids for herself when she promised herself that she would. As expected, she did. This picture captures that moment of accomplishment just right. She had the opportunity to enjoy a hot cup of coffee, a tasty breakfast, and the scorching Egyptian heat while sitting in front of one of those pyramids. However, Danica still has a long list of destinations she hopes to see in her lifetime. She loves to ski. Danica is undoubtedly a woman of extremes, whether enjoying the snow at the top of a mountain or soaking up the sun. She's capable of handling everything. Skiing is undoubtedly one of Patrick's favorite activities. It's a part of the territory. It makes sense that someone who was a racer would be drawn to other extreme activities like this one. Danica is having fun in a surprisingly snowy setting, outfitted to handle slick terrain and pull off various daring tricks. That, or she's only interested in taking a selfie. She's having fun with it one way or another. Turning 40 in style. You may be confident that Danica Patrick will always throw a lavish 40th birthday celebration. Danica and her best pals in the spring of 2022. Danica started her amazing weekend of festivities with a fantastic red-themed party where everyone in attendance was decked out in red attire. Along with having fun on the boat, the girls also received towels bearing the saying, "Danica's 40th, like a fine wine, she gets better with time," on them. As you can see, they formed a quite unique human pyramid to cap off the celebrations on the beach. Quality time with Mom. Not only is Danica's birthday something she would never miss, unquestionably, Danica Patrick's mother, Bev, is one of her greatest inspirations. She has supported her daughter throughout good times and bad, and she is incredibly proud of all her daughter has accomplished. Thus, when her mother's birthday rolled around in the summer of 2022, Patrick would not miss it. She packed her things and returned to Indianapolis to give her mother the most significant birthday embrace possible. The two are posing here in front of Bev's exquisite rose garden. Danica loves to fish. Danica Patrick ranks fishing as one of her favorite activities, albeit it may not be for everyone. The former racer will travel to crowded waterways whenever she can, grab her fishing poles, and wait until she catches the day's biggest catch. When this picture was taken, Danica was engaged in a tug-of-war with a 51-pound halibut. She retrieved the massive fish from the water and identified it as her own after much perseverance and patience. Additionally, she received a unique hat from the fishing firm accompanying her on the voyage, indicating her membership in the 50-plus pound club. A hiking enthusiast. Take into consideration the fact that Danica Patrick has a deep passion for exploring new places and cultures. Her preference for venturing into the outdoors and having small experiences makes perfect sense. Danica is spotted hiking alongside a pal amid Sedona's breathtaking Arizonan scenery. But they did more than just go walking. They exercised, painted spiritually in the water, and ultimately had massages that they remarkably earned. Danica tries to take these kinds of trips for self-care at least occasionally a year. Living it up at Burning Man. Burning Man is a well-known festival, so you probably already know everything there is to know about it. You know, that crazy party in the Black Rock Desert when hipsters from all over the world congregate to celebrate in several ways, including building some incredible structures? And who enjoys making an occasional appearance at Burning Man? Yes, people, that is Danica Patrick. The former racer is seen in this picture watching the sun rise at 7:30 a.m. while dancing in the desert. Yes, she was highly energetic even after spending the entire night partying. Channeling her inner Tiger Woods. It makes sense that Danica, who has a strong passion for athletics, would experiment with various sports. She particularly enjoys playing golf. Granted, it may not be the same intensely competitive sport as NASCAR racing. Nevertheless, Danica decided to head to a driving range one day and hone her golf club technique. She arranged all those balls so they would shoot at each other quickly. Her next objective is to improve her putting, but we do not doubt that she will soon develop into a respectable golfer. Still love the Super Bowl. Even though Danica Patrick and Aaron Rodgers are no longer in a high-profile relationship, she still has a passion for American football, the game that first brought them together. Danica often attempts to buy her friends some tickets to the Super Bowl whenever she has the chance. She attended Super Bowl 57 in 2023 when she saw the Kansas City Chiefs defeat the Philadelphia Eagles by a small margin. Unquestionably, the Super Bowl is always a spectacular event, and Danica enjoys every chance she gets. She loves getting festive. There is no denying that Danica Patrick has a close spiritual relationship with God. Although her level of purity is unknown, Danica Patrick is thought to have converted to Catholicism in 2004. Since then, she has thanked the Lord for everything, especially on Christmas Day. Spending this memorable day with her family is among the things for which she is most thankful. Danica is shown in this endearing photograph with her closest loved ones on Christmas Day in 2023. Their coordinating outfits demonstrate how seriously they take this day. Now she's into politics. Despite her consistent efforts to avoid engaging in political discourse throughout her career, Danica Patrick has acknowledged that she has been drawn to this topic in recent years. Not so long ago, she was interviewed by well-known political analyst Tucker Carlson. In her opinion, individuals ought to be free to live as they like, provided that they do not harm others. But now more than ever, she understands that there are many things to consider. Whether it's our food, skies, schools, free speech, media, or privacy, it is affecting my world and just about everyone else's daily, she posted to her Instagram account. A podcaster master. Danica Patrick's life has become so dependent on podcasting. You would anticipate her Danica Patrick Pretty Intense podcast to be just that, a show. In it, the former racer engages in conversation with a diverse spectrum of guests on almost any subject, including some of the most thought-provoking individuals on the planet. She seems to have covered everything from politics and religion to relationships, health, and the environment. Patrick has had the privilege of conversing with many celebrities on her podcast, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Jillian Michaels, Dane Cook, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Leanne Rimes, and Andrew Huberman. Super conscious about her health. Danica Patrick has always taken her health exceptionally seriously, and this is when it makes the most sense for her, given that she has achieved the peak of her sport. Patrick experienced a few strange after-effects following her implant surgery. She consequently concluded that she would require their removal, and she has been visiting the hospital regularly ever since. Excorporeal blood ozone and oxygenation treatment, or EBOO, is what she has been receiving more recently. Essentially, the patient gets a small amount of blood drawn, treated with ozone, and then put back into the body. Danica frequently updates her fans on her experiences receiving this kind of care. Taking great care of her skin. On social media, Danica Patrick frequently receives comments from admirers questioning how she manages to look so much younger than she is. Ultimately, she answered virtually the same question in an interview with New Beauty. Danica claims that because she has been taking excellent care of her skin for the past few decades, not much has changed with it. The key has been receiving frequent facials since she turned 20. Then I would get simpler things like microdermabrasion. I got that for a long time, every 4 to 8 weeks, she recalled. Danica is receiving Virtue RF treatment in this picture. She's a wine expert. Even if you put your health first, you can still enjoy some lovely things. Conversely, several medical professionals even assert that having red wine daily can positively affect heart health. As was already established, Danica Patrick possesses a personal vineyard named Somnium, tucked away in the famous Napa Valley. She is an enormous fan of the nectar from the vine. She has created a variety of boutique wines there, such as red, white, and rosé. Danica enjoys a glass of wine during Thanksgiving with one of her pals.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon